steps,
2, 3, 1, 2, 3.
style, alignment, focus. Repeat.
7, 8.
Months before the streets fill with sound and color, thousands work in parallel. So how does Singapore's largest street celebration come together? Every year, on the second weekend of Chinese New Year, a street in Singapore becomes the stage for Chingay. Chingay began in 1973 as a way to bring people together during Chinese New Year after firecrackers were banned. Over the decades, it grew in scale and scope, moving across the city and evolving into a multicultural street celebration. Since 2010, the parade has primarily been staged at the F1 pit building. In 2026, preparations return to the F1 pit building.
So, Rahmat, what about the surrounding the so-called sitting gallery? Are we all done ready?
Coordinating the many moving parts is Kia Xiang Wei.
He will actually go over. We start planning for every Chingay parade at least 1.5 years before. We need a longer lead time because we work closely with at least 150 organizations and stakeholders. We also need to look at the theme, to decide on the venue, to look at what are the modality of the parade to give the best experience for our audience. For this year, we are having this theme called Wish. Why Wish? Because we use Wish as a theme to mobilize our citizens to come together to make that wish, the aspiration, collectively moving forward.
An audience of 30,000 is expected over 2 nights, spread across 3 sectors. At Sector A, the parade goes circular. A first for Chingay.
Chingay is a people's parade, and we want every audience to be part of the Chingay parade itself. This whole design is to actually encourage more audience participation. The audience here will have a 360 view, but beyond this, we also have Sector B and C, and it's a linear parade similar to a street parade. Over there will be more free engagement, more free play. The performance will be getting even closer to our audience so they can feel that they're actually part of the whole parade itself.
More than 3,000 performers will take part in this year's Chingay.
You go to your position at R1, baru kita cuba naik melewati rem 1 dan rem 2.
Choreographing the Malay Heritage performance is Osman Abdul Hamid, a recipient of the Cultural Medallion.
My choreography, I think basically is to get all the different art forms together, and then the inspiration is celebrating Hari Raya. We have silat, fikir barat, recitation, the poetry, Malay dance, but also different genre of Malay dance. The most exciting is every part of this element has their highlights in this choreography.
This year's Malay performance brings together silat, dikir barat, and Malay dance, distinct traditions shaped into a single choreography.
The inspiration is the weaving element of the ketupat and how all these elements symbolize this celebration of Hari Raya.
Ready, one more time.
Making them move as one is where the work begins.
Silat, I just need them to sync with the melody of the music. That is a challenge for them, to get them to be in the right tune, right point, because silat is just organic. When you do the punches, it's all basically on the cueing. Ha, ha, but now they are working on the rhythm. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 3, 4.
Rehearsals begin months earlier, off-site.
Now going into your second highlight. Stand by and go.
During our first rehearsal, the stage is not ready, so entirely we do through our imagination. And today we have the first time to go on stage. With all the transition, there's so many adjustments that I made today. For example, the center stage, originally only the tier 2 will go up. Then after discussing, we also create another level, the tier 3 will go up too during the singing of the Hari Raya song and the recitation of the poetry.
With most of the contingent made up of volunteers, they have only a few weekends on site to adapt to the space. For Chingay, performers need costumes, about 1,700 of them. Overseeing the process is Monisha, and this year she's trying something new.
We have been opening tender for costume designs and productions, which means the tenderers do both the designing and also the fabrication. But this year, I thought that we could open the opportunity to young designers. So we posted it up in our social medias to gain interest. We awarded 5 designers to come on board and work with us.
Bringing more designers into the mix widened the creative range. It also made coordination more complex.
It's much easier when the fabricators are the designers. But then like here, because designer has a different vision and the vision has to be translated in terms of fabrication. So the fabricator has to understand the design. Each part of the costume, how is it done, what kind of fabrics to use, what type of fit it should be, so that we could achieve what they wanted in their illustration.
Ideas now had to move between sketches, materials, and construction, without losing the cultural meaning tied to each moment in the parade.
Hi! We have the new sample today. For Act 1, it's Chinese New Year. So Act 2 is Hari Raya, and Act 3 is Deepavali, and Act 4 is Christmas.
Do you want to see the lights up?
Please light it up.
Okay. Plug in and...
Okay, so this is the LED rings.
Yes, this is the new neon light.
For Chinese New Year, we looked at Chinese Hampao, and then we looked at the orange lantern and how we could incorporate all these key elements into the costume itself. I think overall the skirt shape and all that, it looks much better. So for the orange lantern, they tweaked it a little bit. They made it like an octagon shape instead of a circular shape. So that's how they bring in their creativeness in terms of the costume translation. Although it would not look like a direct translation of the orange lantern, it's inspired by it.
So we have this gold brooch over here. The details are actually simpler but subtle,
Okay.
right?
The challenge was also translating the Indian ethnic costumes because most of the fabricators are non-Indians. The materials we use in Indian fabric of Indian designs are completely different. So we had to really guide them through and also to see the swatches and tell them, okay, this is the right shade of color and this is the right brocade material to use in order to achieve the cultural element in each of the costumes.
And for the necklace, it's more
Yes, this looks a lot more
Yes.
like an Indian accessory. As much as we want the costumes to look very fashionable and good, it has to be practical enough to be performing in.
For such a big costume, I imagine it being heavier, but yes, I feel very comfortable as a performer.
Costumes bring color to the parade. But Chingay isn't complete without its floats. This year, 5 floats are being built, one representing each of Singapore's 5 districts.
Very nice, by the way. You know, the attention to the details.
Leading the Southwest District float is artist Royston Pang.
Last year, we were working on 3-meter-long floats. This year, we are working on a 7-meter-long float. The float that we are designing this year, we call it Future Pulse. We look at trends. Some of the trends we find pretty interesting that we can see every day. People walking around with huge headphones. People are more bold. They have bright colored hair. And then we try to communicate this through the float in terms of design, colors, style, and materials.
The materials come from unexpected places. Everyday objects reworked into something symbolic.
We are using stickers and cable ties. It's because I like to expose myself to different forms of material other than the typical paint and canvas and ink. From here, it comes down. Everyday materials like this that are pretty much overlooked could be a form of creativity as well, an interesting interpretation of how it can be used. We decided to use the stickers to form and to create a digital batik motif. We watch our digital devices, they're all made of pixels. We have round stickers to represent the pixels. Because Chingay is all about culture and preservation and also what is evolving.
The floats aren't built by artists alone. Residents from across the 5 districts join in through community workshops.
We try to incorporate as many people of different ages, different walks of life as possible. I would say Singapore has a unique kampung spirit, and it's something that I hope to see preserved and to have multi-generations come together, working on a project, understanding each other, and then at the end of the day, being able to see their work on TV, something that they would feel proud for.
Throughout the build and rehearsals, volunteers keep things running.
Many of our volunteers are working behind the scenes to ensure that every of our performers have their refreshment. Working around to ensure safety in all aspects. You may not realize that they are beside you, but they are the very important people who actually make Chingay Parade possible.
By the time the parade begins, everything has to be in place. Performers in sync, costumes ready, floats in position. Months of planning coming together on the street. The 54th edition of Chingay is about to begin.